Okay, I'll just read through your comments so you can actually absorb what you've actually said to me. I said the question should be why some people find it so easy to believe in chemtrails, given the staggering lack of evidence. And I'll go on to say exactly what I mean by evidence later on, but your reply was lack of evidence. I just provided you with a ton of evidence. The fact that you blindly ignore documented fact proves to me that you lost cause. Do you get paid to spread disinformation, or you just dabble in this as a hobby? Either way, it seems I have taken some of the wind out of your sails, and I take pride in knowing that the truth will prevail in this battle. What wind have you taken out of my sails? None whatsoever. I'm sticking by fact, I'm sticking with science, and you're sticking with conjecture. All you've done is form an hypothesis and come to a conclusion. You've missed out everything in between. That's why you'll never be taken seriously by the scientific community, or by anyone else for that matter. You're presenting facts. That may be correct, you are presenting facts, but they're not facts that are related to this subject, so they're completely invalid as facts. I'll just read through a few of them and go through them if you want, you know. I mean, this is the basis of your evidence. According to NASA, conditions have to be just right for clouds to form. Nature needs tiny droplets of water, something for the droplets to cling to, particles like dust, salt and smoke. Yeah, I fucking know that, you know. Everyone knows that. Everyone who knows any basic meteorology knows that already. That's how clouds forms, and that's how contrails form. Yeah, I don't see why you can't grasp that as well. You can't see the correlation between the two, that's the problem. And then you go on to say, can we just not say there is something in these trails being left that is not just residue from the spent fuel? Well, no, you can't. Unless you've got evidence to back up that claim, you cannot use that as a fact. That's not a fact. That's pure fucking conjecture on your part. You know it is. In my geographical location, it's easy to see when they are spraying and when they're not. This is evident by a couple of days with no air traffic through the area, and then some days there are 4 to 7 planes in the sky simultaneously. Some of the trails leave thick trails, some of the planes leave thick trails, some of them leave thin. Yes, that's perfectly explainable by science, and I don't see a point. You actually seem to possess a lack of scientific understanding. You really do. Persistent contrails are not dependent on altitude. Not at all. They can actually form at ground level. So I'm going to rule that one out straight away for you. It depends on the moisture and temperature. That's all it depends on. And there's pockets of air throughout the atmosphere that will produce certain conditions that are right to produce contrails, and certain conditions that are not. Surely that's obvious. You should go to contrail science, and they'll give you an in-depth explanation precisely about this subject. Just because some days you cannot see the airplanes flying above your head does not mean they're not there. You can look at any website which shows flight tracking information, and you will see they're still flying above your head every single day of the year. It just depends on atmospheric conditions whether you will see them or not. Surely that's obvious as well. You go on to say, it is ignorant to discount the fact that there are not only government programs that call for putting various chemicals into the air, but private organisations as well. Yeah. That's called cloud seeding. To perform cloud seeding, I don't know how many times I've been through this as well. To perform cloud seeding or weather modification, it has to be directed at the point. What do I mean by this? If you're going to seed a cloud, you're going to seed inside the cloud, not outside, not randomly in the atmosphere, anywhere crisscrossing, in the actual clouds. And cloud seeding planes are actually quite small aircraft. You can look this up on the internet as well. You can look up all the private companies that actually perform these operations for various local governments, and you realise these are not tankers by any stretch of the imagination. Your next claim: a lot of these planes are well below cruising altitude, and judging by the flight path, they are not descending onto a regional airport. I find this hard to believe that there are days with absolutely no air traffic over my area, and other days there are countless. I have seen on numerous occasions the same plane go across the sky and turn around near the horizon and come back across the same area. That's the same claim made by a million other people on YouTube, and as always, no one's actually shown any proof for what they're saying. There's no video or photographic evidence that the same plane has turned around at all. None whatsoever. I don't know what you're talking about. And the fact that I've just answered the other question, why you cannot see air traffic on some days and why you can. And I don't understand how you can say a lot of these planes are well below cruising altitude. How? Do you know the cruising altitude of these jets? I don't think so. And how can you tell the altitude from ground level? Please explain this to me, because I've never seen anyone able to actually come up with any answer except by laser. But then again, the layperson just doesn't have an atmospheric laser lying around. You also point to the atmospheric science program, which has nothing whatsoever to do with contrails at all. Go back and read the site, read about the site again, because you'll find out they're actually examining the results of particulates such as dust, soot, and industrial pollution. Nothing more, nothing less. So I don't see why you brought that up as a fact to prove contrails do exist. No, that does not relate whatsoever. And you actually pointed out the Space Preservation Act. Why? This shows you how ignorant you are on the subject. If you go to the Space Preservation Act and look up exactly the meaning and definition of space, it says quite clearly. Go to the original, because the original was issued by a UFO nut, not by a congressman, a UFO nut. But if you go and look at the definition of space, you realise it is 196,000 feet. Now you tell me one aircraft, commercial or military, that flies at that altitude, just one. It also this is strange as well, which you completely ignore, because it was actually written by a UFO nut. We've actually got in there that this act is to protect against alien weaponry. Yeah, sure, fine. You want to use that as a fact to prove chemtrails? Fine. Then your next comment is about chaff. Why? Do you believe that aircraft are continually flying over populated areas, spraying chaff? I don't understand why you're including this as a part of a fact for contrails neither. Yes, the military use chaff, but it's used in the military arena. Oh, it's used in training. You find out as well that the military owns quite a lot of land, and usually these, probably in 99% of these cases, are actually carried out above government-owned land. They're restricted areas to the population. So why are you even mentioning chaff? I don't even understand why you're mentioning chaff. This is not a fact. Like, contrails exist. I'm looking for evidence, for proof that contrails are anything but contrails. I know what chaff is. I'm saying you have a big problem in presenting scientific evidence. If you presented this as evidence in a criminal court, you would be laughed. You would be laughed at. And that's why the scientific community on YouTube and the rest of the world is laughing at you as well, because you're not presenting it in a scientific manner.